Oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. A millennial is one who is born between 1981 and 1996. As a millennial, the coronavirus has been hard, particularly because we have young children. They've been at home with us. Even this week, Shuka's been at home with us because kids in his class keep contracting COVID, so he has to be at home. So there's no schedule then. Everything is random. Gen Z are those who are born between 1997 and 2012. For them, the coronavirus has been the hardest. Amongst all generations, it is Gen Z that is feeling the most stressed because of the coronavirus. It is affecting their education, their careers, their relationships. And we don't need research to share why this is. Gen Z has found the least meaning in their education, career, relationships, whereas those who are older, just using myself as a reference, the next generation, my education, career, and relationships are more established. Everyone's seeing that practically. And so what this shows is the less meaning one has in their life, the more stress they will have in their lives. And the more meaning one has in their life, the less stress they will have. I keep sharing, welcome to Meaningful Mornings. Only you will be able to decide if you're welcoming yourself into meaning or not. And a fine gauge of that, how much stress do you have or not have? Avidya is when one forgets the nature of peace. Avidya is forgetting what? The nature of peace. That the nature of peace is you. With forgetting comes a remembering. One remembers the potential for pleasure. Remembers the potential for pleasure. When I'm not peaceful, I keep remembering that food tasted so good. That vacation was so comfortable, and so on. Then what happens? One of the best portions of Pujya Swami Chinmayananda's commentary is shared in verse 23, what we covered yesterday. I'm going to read that out to you. When I remember the potential of pleasure. Desire is the avalanche of thoughts sweeping down from the pinnacles of our intellect. Along the valleys of our heart, towards an object of desire in the outer world. When this avalanche of thoughts is barricaded on its sweep by a substantial obstacle, ere it reaches its destination, the blast with which it shatters itself on that obstacle is called anger. It is these two types of thoughts that generally agitate our bosom. The greater the desire with which we ponder over an object, the greater shall be the anger against any obstacle that comes between us and our object of desire. That is amazing insights shared in amazing poetry. Kama and Krodha, desire and anger. I gave you another example yesterday, that pleasure is like a cobra. Eventually we will be bitten and killed. That's what desire and anger does to us. Just think of anger towards relationships. Doesn't it kill those relationships? Another example in another commentary is that Kama and Krodha are like a flash flood. First you're thrown back, and then you're drowned in that flood. We have to be careful. The word that's used is sodum. Withstand. Withstand desire and anger. This is not a mental strategy. This withstanding, if at a mental level, will only be suppression. Suppose I have a desire for a new car, and I keep telling my mind, don't have the desire, don't have the desire, don't have the desire. It's only going to grow, correct? Till I'm thrown and drowned in that desire. The strategy is intellectual. Intellectual means to understand this desire for pleasure is not going to complete me. I described uparama as as understanding, correct? Uparama means to understand. You start to understand the difference between the potential of pleasure and the nature of peace. Shared in one more way, when Sri Krishna's father asks the rishis, how can I be closer to Sri Krishna? They said, one way that's holding you back is putreshana, the desire for pleasure. And they teach him, how do you quieten this desire? By graha. Graha means to live in a home, to be a householder. The implication of this, as I shared with you yesterday, is to be hardworking. When that rare occasion happens where Sheila and the kids are not here in Niagara, I don't work hard. But 99% of the time when Sheila and the kids are here, graha, I have to work hard. So there's no opportunity for desire. So there's no opportunity for anger. Such an understanding makes one a nara. Nara means human. A human is one who's engaged in yukta. They keep integrating the mind to the intellect. And so they start to feel sukha. Sukha is joy. And they do all of this iha, now. We have to unlearn concepts of time in terms of evolution. It is not time-based. Just think of when you're dreaming and you wake up, how long does it take? Do you measure it in time? It took me 3 seconds. It happens now. Any postponement towards our evolution devolves us from nara to pashu, from a human to an animal. Opening up the sense of sukha, verse 24. A really lovely verse about joy. Yontas sukontara ramaha tatantar jyotirevayaha sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhutodi gacchati. Yaha. Yaha always implies the one who's practicing, experiencing. What? Antaha sukha. Point to me where antaha is. Pleasure, bahi. Peace, antaha. The one who's experiencing inner happiness. What else? Antaha ramaha. Antara ramaha. They're experiencing, these are all synonyms, inner happiness. Sukhaha, ramaha, these are synonyms. Tata, what else? Antaha jyoti. They're experiencing inner happiness. Jyotihi means light. Here again, happiness. Okay, so this whole first line, these are synonyms. For the sake of our reflection, I will add minor details for us to reflect upon. The sukhaha means, in English, rejoicing. Rejoicing. We have lowered our sense of peace so much that we feel the absence of pain is peace. One who's rejoicing is one who's now accepted the absence of pain is not the presence of peace. They're rejoicing. They're moving back to joy, like retracing your steps. Ramaha, that's the second synonym. We'll describe that as joyous. So rejoicing, now being joyous, that is where they are not engaging pleasure anymore, but rather they're focusing on their development. They're becoming more inward looking. And I'm describing this as being joyous since they're not using their sense organs for sense objects. There's less of a sense of limitation. They're becoming more antaha, more independent. And the final synonym, jyotihi, we'll describe that as joy. Rejoicing deepens to being joyous, to being joy. Do you see those differences? You become more and more and more antaha. Being joy, how do you know that you are now joy? When you no longer seek gain. As long as you can seek gain, that you're joyous, but you are not joy. Reflect on those, okay? Technically, I've openly stated these are synonyms. I've added more thoughts for us to reflect upon. So the one who's experiencing this, sayogi. That person is a yogi, Brahma Nirvana. And they're blown into infinity. Expanding on this, a yogi is one who is engaged, is experiencing yoga. Point to me where yoga happens. Right here, my back. You know, when I stretch, that's Andaha is my spine. See how many words are used here in terms of Antaha? Yogi, yoga. The completion of this is yukta. One is integrated. Their equipments have become powerful, more powerful than their ego. Nirvana means to blow out. Brahman means infinity. To blow out into infinity. It's Buzz Lightyear who says to infinity and beyond, correct? Bhagavad Gita. Toy Story has sourced their material from Bhagavad Gita. This is where the ego unites with the spirit. And my last reflection for all of you, Brahma Bhuto, Brahma Bhutaha Adigachati. When the ego is blown into the spirit, then one becomes, the better word is re-becomes, infinity. We were always infinite, but we had forgotten that. Now we remember that. Right now we are living in a triputi. A triputi means a triad in reference to experience. These are technical words. Just hear me out. The experiencer experiences the experienced. That's clear. These are the three factors. For the one who is infinite, the self is selfing the selfed. There is no longer a triad. There is no triputi. There is only Advaita, only oneness. The self is experiencing the self as the self. So joy is experiencing joy as joy. Imagine how simple living would be then. Lots to reflect on. Inspiration to application. Your recent application was for you to share what you have been learning, what you have been feeling in our 85 weeks together. When you share, that gets printed upon your personality. And I keep describing, we have to print an Atma Vasana. I have to print that I am more than this body, I am infinite. Keep sharing what you're learning. Keep sharing what you're feeling. Your application for this morning. Iha, meaning your life now. I want you to identify who is most dedicated to you. Iha, you can take it as your lifetime. You can take it as someone who's alive. You can take it as today. Who is most dedicated to you? Reflecting on this in a different way, who is giving the most to you? Who is that personality? Reflect on that. Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness.